Welcome everyone to the Root Institute. I am joined here today, fresh off my first NFT sale, with some of the most influential thought leaders and financial experts in the space. They are at the forefront of this emerging currency and also have been super impactful in exposing the Black community to what it means to invest in 2021. Welcome Lamar from Black Bitcoin Billionaires, Teri Ijeoma from Trade and Travel Platform, and Olayinka Odeniran from Black Women in Blockchain Council. So let's just start with the basics for our viewers. Lamar, you have a long career in engineering. Just tell us about what Bitcoin is, how you got started, and tell us about why we should pay attention to Bitcoin.
I was pitching a startup to one of the VCs that I went to go visit. And while I was pitching my startup, he said, I see you guys have a virtual currency in your application. Have you heard of Bitcoin? And I thought he was talking about Bitcoin. And he said Bitcoin. So I was like, no, I have never heard of it. So I go outside. My co-founder, my business partner, he looks at his phone. He's like, I think he said Bitcoin. And we looked at it, but it was like, I don't know what this is. It doesn't look like it's doing anything to compete with us. So let's keep working on this failing startup because it really wound up failing at the end of the day. But what happened, the price of Bitcoin took off. And I saw the headline. I was like, this Bitcoin thing's still around. So I went and read the white paper. And upon reading the white paper, the first thing I noticed was that it provided freedom. Like reading the white paper allowed me to see that there's no better marriage of the two disciplines that I am good at, right? Which is software development, engineering, and then also finance. There's no better marriage than Bitcoin. And so they got me extremely interested. It made me go on to build a wallet and those types of things. And then, of course, once you understand that freedom aspect, you start to accumulate it. And then I started doing things to get it, right? I was helping people out, that needed Bitcoin. They couldn't figure out how to go get it. So I would get the Bitcoin. Some people needed it to get out of their crypto locker game or whatever, the crypto locker situation. And so I was the only person they knew to go get it. So I would go get the Bitcoin. They'll give me an extra fee to help them go procure Bitcoin for themselves. So yeah, I was making money like that. And then also with the wallet, we allowed you to buy gift cards in our wallet. So that's when I started to accumulate. That's when I started to accumulate Bitcoin because at the time we were the only wallet in the space that you could get on the iOS device because the other wallets had been banned, and we figured out a way to get around it. So yeah, it was. I've been in the game for a long time, and the game has served me extremely well. I can't complain.
And how about you, Olayinka? So you got into Bitcoin and blockchain specifically with a compliance background. Can you give us a little bit about what Black Women in Blockchain does, and also a little overview of blockchain?
I was going to say Lamar and I kind of share the same introduction to this space. I was in the financial industry before I became a cybersecurity consultant. I was a chief compliance officer. And just like him, I had an idea for a great startup and went to someone that I was recommended to. And that individual happened to tell me about Bitcoin. I didn't fall in love with the digital currency at the time. What I did was once I researched it, because being in the financial industry, you're kind of questioning a lot of things. And so what I did was I read up on the white paper and read up on what blockchain is, and really thought that the technology was going to revolutionize the way that we deal with a lot of stuff, especially for the Black community on a global level, right? Because of the transparency and the self-sovereignty, all the great things that we as people need. And so I fell in love with that and got involved with the international group of women back in 2018 that actually spanned because of the, the Bitcoin conference in Miami, January of that year, where there was like a crazy amount of guys compared to women at the conference, and they ended up going to a strip club for the after party or something like that. And so there was an uproar, right? And it was like, we have to do something. Like, this is not fair. It's kind of becoming a male dominated space. And so we wanted to change that. After getting involved, I looked around and realized that there wasn't a lot of us. And this time, my goal was to make sure that I do my part in making sure that we do not get left behind. Because there was opportunities, there was partnership, there was a lot of things going on that I wasn't seeing Black women like myself being involved. And I've had history of being the only one, but I was tired of it. I have a child. I want her to be able to surround herself with people. So I started Black Women Blockchain Council to promote us, increase awareness and education about this space, and not only the cryptocurrency, but also the technology and what the technology can do in the different use cases.
That's amazing. And we're going to get into the Black Blockchain Council when it comes to decentralized autonomous organizations, currently known as DAOs. But I wanted to kick it over to Teri because you have accumulated a massive audience of eager investors and even first-time investors. So when we talk about investing, why is it important for the Black community to start investing on a fundamental level?
Oh man, it is so important primarily because I think right now many people think of investing and think for the long term for retirement. But one of the things I've been teaching is how do you use investing right now? How do you use it to pay for your bills, to go on that trip you've been wanting to take? How do you use it to pay off your debt? I used it to pay off student loans. So, a little about me, I've been trading now for 11 years, but I started in stocks and options after the housing crash. And then as I've been trading, I used it to retire as an assistant principal and start traveling full time. So that's why I have the trade and travel platform, or really it's the trade and travel course, because I used it to start traveling around the world. And then for crypto in particular, I was introduced to it because I had so much cash sitting in my portfolio that the broker said, well, you could make an interest if you put it into stable coins. So my introduction was USDC coins. And then I was trading to help pay for a nonprofit. I wanted to give $450,000 to a nonprofit. And I ended up putting some into Bitcoin and paid it off within months trading crypto. So that's been my intro, but I think it's important because we can actually help change the world if we're making more income. We can help nonprofits, help ministries, help healthcare, help education with the income we're making from trading and from investing.
That is amazing. And, I want to popcorn this, around. So I love that you guys have your own set of, how you got into cryptocurrency, especially with today in 2021. It seems like everyone is dipping their feet into the cryptocurrency space. And one of the themes of the Root Institute is wealth building. So, how do we get more of our people to at least experience this new digital asset, whether it's investing in, like you said, Teri, a stable coin, or at least, to your point, Lamar, holding Bitcoin? What do you think some of the barriers are, and how do we get our people to just at least start?
For me, I think some of the barriers are just mindset. I was in a room earlier today, and what happens is that we know we understand that we as African Americans have dealt with financial oppression in this country, like all types of other oppression. And I think what happens is that as you start to be freed from that, the first thing you want to do is get a come up or get money quick, and don't understand that the whole idea of even building wealth a lot of times is you have to basically plant the tree and then let the tree grow and then don't cut the tree down. A lot of people just want to flip. They just want to flip quickly and they don't understand like the skills that it takes, like Miss Terry has, to trade. And so they want to trade before they get the skills, and they mess around and lose a lot of money because they want a quick come up. And so we try to tell people that are just now starting to understand investment that you have to have those financial principles in place first, like being able to save, understanding what a budget is so that you have extra money to put and invest in something so that you can grow the tree. And then you take those apples from the tree, and that's what you start to reinvest, right? You let your tree grow. Don't keep tapping into your principal. And good traders, I know Terry will probably tell you that, like, if you're going to trade, you don't just take your whole entire principal and throw it on something, right? Like, you take your time and watch the patterns and all of that. And so I think that's the biggest thing, that mindset of understanding how to build wealth. Like, income is one thing, but to take your hard earned income that you got and put it into something that stores your purchasing power over time is something that you have to be able to understand so that you can then grow wealth going forward. Because otherwise, you'll just keep flipping into a bottomless existence if you don't know what you're doing.
To Lamar's point, it's like, like we don't even know what an investment thesis is. Do you teach that, or like, can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Well, those are big words, investment thesis. No, I'm just playing. um, but I will say I agree with Lamar. I agree that it's really important to have education before you get into this world of investing, and especially it's important to be educated on the basics. Like you can't start investing if you don't know how to manage your budget, or if you've got a ton of debt and you're trying to still invest at the same time. Now, I will say that I paid off my student loans with trading. So I don't think you have to have like no debt before you start investing. But I do think it's important to know about it. One thing I will say though is many people have the idea that you should just be a short-term investor. Like I heard Lamar saying this like flip idea. But I think just like in real estate, it's okay to have both. There's some people in real estate that are buy and hold. They'll have it, let the house appreciate. But then there's other people that will flip the house and get their money quick. And neither one is better or worse than the other. They're just different. But you do have to have a certain skill set, like know your risk management, know how to read a chart to be able to trade on an active basis and be consistently profitable.
I agree with both Lamar and Terry. I think when we're talking about the crypto space, I think it's very important to understand the reasons for the space and what it really means. And the best way to do that is to learn about the technology that's driving and making this available to us, which is blockchain. I think once people understand the concept of the technology, then they really understand what the meaning of investing in crypto is. And then they won't be following influencers in what they say, right? They will have their own mindset and their own interest in being involved in this space. Because we see a lot of people that come in. I'm sure Lamar in his rooms on Clubhouse, he's tired of people asking him about other coins because they've heard it from someone else and it's made them millionaires, right? As opposed to really understanding the whole concept of Bitcoin, really understanding the whole concept of blockchain and other coins as well. I think once people understand that concept, then they start to say, you know what, this one just seems like it's kind of iffy. I'm not really backing the community. Let me research a little bit more and look at the community, because that's what this space is about. Who's backing it? What are they building? What's happening and what's the sustainability of it is. Don't just go for the shiny coin, but go for the one that has a lasting impression on society.
And I'm
Yeah.
with you on that because the big thing about that is you have to know the technology because a lot of people don't understand the technology and they don't understand the tokenomics of these things. And we were talking again. This morning was a very contentious room because it literally was bring the smoke. We want all the smoke, right? So everybody who had a coin, they came in the room and we went through and broke some of this stuff down because a lot of it is marketing. Like people tell you what they can do with blockchain and all these things they can do. I've been in the space for a long time. I've built on all different types of chains. I built for some of the biggest banks in the country, in the world, right? And so when I start looking at it, I can look at it from a different lens because I've actually used the technology and understand the limits on some of it. And some of these people go in, and it's the equivalent of walking into a casino, putting all your money on 17 on the roulette table, winning, it hitting, and then you walking outside telling everybody, "Hey, you can make $1 million if you go in there and put your money on 17." They don't understand the odds. They don't understand how the game works. And I think that happens so much in this space because, again, it goes back to the mindset of the quick come up and not understanding that it's about us getting to apple trees and not weeds. Apple trees last a long time, provide fruit for your family over a longer period of time. It's not about planting weeds and hurry up and getting something off of it as fast as you can because you got to keep planting those weeds. It's one of them seasons, them weeds ain't going to make it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody put a pesticide there and coins like Neo will be gone. I know Linka understands about Neo. We were talking about that this morning. It's like Neo was the biggest, baddest thing in 2017. And now if you ask somebody who just got in, they're like, what's Neo? That just shows you what happens to this space from a technology perspective. So yeah, I think it's a good combination of people up there talking. This is good stuff.
Yeah. And I think also, so we talk about blockchain, and this is like a public ledger. So, once you put your money on this public ledger, it is for public knowledge. And then that's the Bitcoin blockchain. And then you have the Ethereum blockchain, which is more for smart contracts, which is a
Right.
fork of Bitcoin. That's the open source technology. So I think it's a great transitioning point to talk about the creators in the space and how, Ethereum and some of these non-fungible tokens have gotten into space, and people are making money off of not only betting on or putting their money on tokens, but selling their artwork on the Ethereum blockchain. So I guess what would be like if your client, I guess, Teri, would come to you about betting on, the latest state token on Ethereum blockchain? What would you tell them? Like, what's the process of that?
Now, I'll tell you the truth. My opinion may be not so popular on this panel because I would tell them, no, I invest in best in breed in everything. So for me, if it's like too risky or I don't really understand it or know it, then I don't invest because I think the risk is much higher than the reward. And so for me, I would say I stick to Bitcoin and Ethereum just the same way in stocks. I stick with the wealthy, healthy companies. So for me, it would be tough for me. Y'all would have to tell me the other side of the coin.
No, listen, I'm with you. Look, Melissa already knows I'm over it, like jumping on the inside, because it's just like that's exactly what I was gonna say. What I think about the art space, I say this every time. Artist, look at me, get your money. Like, go get your money. From an investment side, like if you're putting money into some artwork on NFT, make sure you understand you are supporting the artist and it is not meant for you to 10x your actual thing. But for artists, do whatever you can to go get your money. I believe in art. I love people that create. So whatever way to continue to allow you to continue to create, there should be no more starving artists. You got platforms now. You just got to get out there and push. But from the investment side, yeah, a lot of this stuff is. I literally, I'll say this really quick. I talked to a couple whales yesterday, Ethereum whales, and they were telling me how they were working the actual system of these NFTs. And I'll let you know, like, if you don't have, this is what they told me. They said this to me. They said, Lamar, if you don't have 250,000, 100,000 to $250,000 to actually go out here and play this game, do not get in the game. He said, don't tell anybody you know to get in this game because it's very, very risky. It's the way they play it is not meant for the little guy to come up because really what they're doing, they understand how to take this market in the same way these hedge funds do with retail investors. They know how to take these markets and then dump on your head. And they take your Bitcoin, they take your Ethereum, change it into Bitcoin and keep moving. I'm telling you this. I talked to two like straight up yesterday, and they were talking to me because I was asking them, like, I see y'all putting all these gains up, what's going on, how the space, because I got to keep researching. And I was like, this is a crazy, crazy market that is highly moved by whales. And the hope is that an artist runs into one of these whales so they can get paid. So, Melissa, you need to keep talking to whales because I know you put out an NFT. We got to get you in them rooms with the
Yeah, a whale
whales.
bought a few of my tokens.
See, there you go.
A whale
See,
bought a few of my tokens. And I
Congratulations.
think,
Can I get a chance
congratulations.
to jump in
Get
here?
your money.
yes.
Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna come from the different side, maybe not that far away from Lamar. I think it's a great opportunity. NFTs for our community, we have a lot of creators, right? We have a lot of people who are artistic in the music industry, et cetera, et cetera. This is just another platform for them to showcase
Right.
their work, right? And be able
Yep.
to gain some revenue out of it. They can set royalties. And so long as that particular NFT is being sold indefinitely, you're getting royalties that your great, great, great grandkids might get royalties for, right? And so it is an opportunity to create wealth. There, just like in the regular physical art space, there's some, money laundering going on, right? So when you hear The Rock that got sold for $160,000, it makes you question, is this space really legit, right? But at the same time, it's just another platform for artists and art to be sold. So you have to just look at it that way. I think NFTs, crypto, and DeFi, DAO, I think these are great opportunities that are being built. And I don't want our community to lose out on the potential that it's making. Yes, you do need whales. You do need how to market yourself and tell your story. What's the meaning behind these NFTs? Like, why are you drawing this? And once you develop that community, and the community is supporting you and they're spreading the word about your artwork, they're purchasing it, etc., then you get in front of like the whales and the big names and they start looking at you. But it does take a lot of work. The easiest part as an NFT artist is creating the NFT. The hardest part is marketing and selling the NFT. So you got to do a lot of legwork. You got to be involved in the community. You got to support others. It's just a lot that goes into it than just, I'm going to create something and sell it, right? For us, unfortunately, we do have to go the extra mile. We do have to do some extra steps to even make it up to crypto punk level, or even rocks level, but we can get there.
I agree with you. Of course, that's what I'm saying. Get your money. The only thing I don't agree with is that if you put your NFT on the wrong chain, one that doesn't have superior technology, then it's not going to be there for your grandkids. It's like
This is
somebody
true.
putting
This is true.
somebody putting NFTs on Neo, right? If NFTs were huge and they put their NFTs on Neo, like you see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So we got to make sure that the artists aren't even banking on this being there forever, because you got to remember there's technology. And we were talking, and I'm gonna just quickly say this: we were talking about TCP/IP versus OSI, the OSI model. I'm saying this so you go look it up, like my mom used to say, go look it up. You know what I'm talking about? The OSI model died. It was the more like vaulted, hyped. Everybody thought it was the more complicated. You could do more stuff with that OSI model. TCP/IP won out, and so just be sure that you're not banking on technology that has limits that you don't even understand. You just the artist. Just know that build your community, like Miss Olayinka said. Go make sure you do all the hard work, the groundwork, because just making art ain't gonna be the thing that's gonna get you the big money. And but at the end of the day, get your money.
So with that, do you guys think that the NFT play is a short-term play then? Since you were saying it may not be around for the long term, is it something that people need
I think
to,
it.
okay,
I
do
think.
it and get out?
I think. I think some of them will be around for a long time. But think about it in art. How many people paint, and then how many people are Basquiat?
That's true.
You see
Yeah,
what I'm
not
saying?
everyone.
So
Yeah, I agree with that. Not everyone is going to make millions off of it, right?
yeah.
And also NFT. Right now, the way that NFTs are being used is just the beginning. A lot of people are starting to consider it as a marketing tactic to showcase their physical project or art or anything really, and or promote stuff, right? So we're still in the beginning phases of trying to understand how to step outside the art world into something that's more valuable for the entire society. And I think right now there's so many great things that could be used on using the NFT as a vehicle. Like if we wanted to do oral history, right? We can record that on NFT, and that way you have a receipt that says this is created by someone, and it's minted on the blockchain. I mean, we can do so much more than just art with NFTs that I think we're just barely tapping into the entire use case for NFTs. Just like we're barely tapping into the entire use case for blockchain. I mean, this is just beginning.
And NFTs have been around forever. Matter of fact, the business that I raise money for, Hydro, we utilize the non fungible token to do open asset accounts on which is basically taking accounts receivable and tokenizing them on Bitcoin, and then we put them on Quorum, which was JP Morgan's blockchain at the time. So NFTs have been around for a long time. I just think they are hitting the mainstream because big artists are getting involved now, right? But before I mean, the technology has been there to be able to do it. So we'll see how long it lasts. I just think people do like to collect stuff, so it's gonna be hard to get that going. The only thing that will hurt it is if one of these chains that people are betting on kind of screws up and doesn't make it, and you have a rollback or something, right? That's messed up because some of these chains have rolled back before, and you might be banking on you having that. And if that contract comes out and they roll back to before the contract, all that value's gone. I'm just gonna be real. So
Yeah. This is a great opportunity to switch into privacy and security because we want our people to be in the next frontier of like this digital oil, right? So we want to make sure we give as much resources as possible. However, there's a huge issue within the digital asset space. People are always getting hacked. You know, somebody's getting their NFT stolen from their wallet. You know, how can we protect ourselves in the space? Because I think that's a part of the education when we talk about self-sovereignty and holding our own assets instead of having a bank holder assets. You know, the decentralized finance community does put the onus on the individual. So I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on, you know, just ways that we could protect ourselves and be a little bit more savvier with our money.
we just need to make sure we start looking at things like multi-sig. Because multi-sig adds more than you have more than a single point of failure or more than a single attack space for them to actually get whatever assets you have. Multi-sig helps tremendously. So I think everybody needs to educate themselves on multi-sig and understand what that means by multi-signature wallets so that you don't have one attack space. I think that helps
Right.
tremendously.
You know, for multi-sig wallets, it's either a hot wallet and or a cold wallet, and sending those signals to different variables in, you know, in your technology space to make sure there's not a scammer or, you know, a hacker coming in to switch your identity or your card. And I want to hear from Olayinka too, just because from the blockchain space and compliance, I know you have a lot of insight.
Yeah, don't forget cybersecurity. but
And cybersecurity, yes, yes.
Yeah, what Lamar said about multi-signature is very important. And multi-signature is just it's an improved version of authentication, right? So it's basically requiring more than one entry point or more than one individual or person to unlock a wallet. So you will have like several different signatures or several different individual entering their confirmation before that wallet is open up to whomever. And the beauty of that is that, you know, if someone was to hack into your wallet, they would need to send and get confirmation from two other people before that wallet is open. So multi-sig is great. I would say the vulnerability is people, right? We're the vulnerable one. The technology itself, blockchain, it's immutable. It has cryptography that's attached to it, so the data that you feed into it cannot be penetrated, cannot be destroyed, cannot be rewritten, etc. Right? But the entry point is where issues come in, and also the exit point, right? And so that the vulnerability is only because of us. It's what we do, how we maneuver, how we walk through this, what information we share, you know, and how all of our information can be traced, right? I just had a coworker who happens to be a cybersecurity consultant as well, who his wallet was actually hacked, and it was hacked really from his cell phone. His SIM number was swapped. And so that individual had access to his email accounts. He has access to everything. So he was able to transfer or get a new password for his wallet or the exchange that he was holding the money into, get that sent to the email, which he has now access to, and open up that exchange wallet and take out his money. Unfortunately, you know, for him, it's going to be a long process to even see whether or not he'll be able to receive the money back. I highly doubt it. But however, there are some things that we need to be cognizant about. There's phishing attempts, right? There's social engineering attempts that, you know, phishing emails. Like, be cognizant of the type of emails that you're receiving. If someone is saying, hey, you know, we've seen something suspicious about your account, act now. Take the time to stop, verify who's reaching out to you, why they're reaching out to you. Is it really your account? And if you have to, pick up the phone. Like, seriously, like, we want to do everything online, but really that whole incident could be prevented if you pick up the phone. Another thing is, look out for phishing, which is phone calls, like spams that are coming nowadays, and they're on a rampant, rapid pace right now. So, you know, if you don't know the number, don't pick up, right? If you get a text message, which is smishing, it's another version of social engineering, where someone will text you and make it seem as if you guys had some kind of relationship, or, you know, they're trying to verify something. If that's the case, don't fall for it. Once again, pick up the phone and, you know, verify that information. So it's just being cognizant of how you maneuver and what you click on and what you react to, can really go a long way. I would say, look for a cold wallet. A cold wallet is something that's definitely detached from the internet. You don't really want to keep your money on wallets or exchanges that are attached to the open web, right? Because then they're vulnerable. Those type of things are called hot wallets. Whenever something is attached to the internet, it's a hot wallet. There's a combination of warm and hot. I'm sorry, of cold and hot, which is a warm wallet. And some of those wallets that you need to attach to the internet in order to gain access to your money and then detach it from the internet is a warm wallet. My advice is a cold wallet. People tend to think the Ledger and Trezor are cold wallets, but they're a little bit of warm wallet, because you do have to reconnect to the internet to gain access of something. But they're better than keeping your money on an exchange. So I would suggest that people start looking at wallets that they can detach from the internet and keeping their currency there, especially if, you know, you want to retain the money that you have. Another thing is, you know, know the difference between private and public key, right? You don't want to give people the wrong keys, and then, you know, because your private key can get access to your entire wallet if you're giving out that information. But your public key is the one that you want to share with the public. And you want to know the difference between those, because there's, you know, one is, I believe, either 13 characters and the other one is a little bit longer. So you want to make sure that you know the difference and you're not sharing the wrong things. I think, you know, people have to really realize that this is a space, like you mentioned, is catered to self sovereignty, and what that means is that you're in control. You're in control of your assets. You're in control of your data, and you're the custodial of everything. If something goes wrong, there's no FDIC, you know, to reassure you and make you safe and give you back the money. If it's lost, it's lost forever.
From the basic level, don't have your email address for your financial attached to, you know, your shopping, where you shop at, and like your resume that's on the internet. Like, I literally like haven't, no one knows it. It's not on the internet, and it's not connected even to my phone. I think that's also really just from a basic level, like to have. Teri, I know you had something to weigh in on too.
Yeah, I was thinking a couple more things from the basic level. Like, make sure you download a VPN onto your computer. That way, no matter what, your IP address is different when you're logging into your financial accounts. Um, Also, I trade my crypto, but with my broker. So one thing that's cool about that is that, like, the only way people can get money out of the account is if they like call, and I have to actually say that money can come out. So even if you do hack in, you can't get the money out. Another thing is just the basics of, now they're doing like the Guardian, where you can have, like, you have to do two-step authentication, but you can have the Guardian app on a different cell phone than your cell phone. So if somebody steals your cell phone and they go in to log into your account, they'd still need a different cell phone to actually get the code. So that's like another idea too. So just a few basic things like that are also helpful.
And our community, we're used to, like, money in the we're used to these, like, protecting our households in general, so this shouldn't be news. You want to make sure your assets are protected, just like your mama's protected, your dad's protected. um, and when we think about building our Black businesses, these are the tools that we need. And the main society, as we get mass adopted, is using these same tools. So I just wanted to touch on, on building Black businesses. I know, Teri, you talked about, using trading to help fund a nonprofit. And as we move into these new structured companies, it's no longer a top down approach. There's DAOs that are forming. So, there's, everybody gets a piece of the pie. So I don't know if, Lamar, you want to talk about a little bit about the Black Bitcoin Billionaires and just like the way that this organization really, functions, or Olayinka, if you had any insight. But I would love to popcorn just to give our viewers just a little bit of insight and inspiration of like how they can, form their own companies with cryptocurrency and stocks as well.
Oh yeah, so Black Bitcoin Billionaires was not meant to be a company at first. It basically was an educational platform for myself and Zay to reach out and hopefully reaches more Black people than we were able to do before. Because again, just like Miss Olinka said around the women, Black folk, we still aren't really represented at Bitcoin conferences. We're not put up as thought leaders, and so it's like you have to be intentional. And so we were very intentional about it. And from that process, just starting that group, which now has over 125,000 members on Clubhouse, that allowed us to then start educating more people. And then people saw how we were educating people and wanted to support and wanted to sponsor, right? And so that became a business. And so we started getting sponsorships. We started doing events. We have great writers like Melissa and Ian who help us write on Black Bitcoin Billionaire, so that we can provide all types of media around Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies so people can learn all this information that we're talking about, and really target and be intentional around Black people, and teach them about the technology and how they can utilize technology. We actually have a Lightning network subnet that we're about to start up with a lot of Black
Oh, the
folk.
node.
Um, yeah, we're about to have Lightning nodes, so people are learning that. And the crazy part about it is, right, like they're doing it as a hobby now, but what people start to understand is just like the old computer club hobbyists back in the day became the engineers that started making 150, $200,000 a year, right? It's like now we're giving people the skill to get access to the Lightning network. They're going to learn it. They're going to be in it. And so guess when the jobs start coming out for these businesses that want to start adding Lightning network to their businesses, we're actually training people for future jobs, which I know many people aren't thinking about it like that, but I think about it like that because that's how all of this works. If you're in advance of a technology as it comes and you learn it, right, it can literally change your entire life. Like that's what happened to me, right? I learned Bitcoin, built a wallet, and from that point forward, my entire life, it probably wouldn't have been on this trajectory, right? Raising the money, all of that stuff, because I had a specific set of skills that others did not. And I think that's the same thing we can provide with like teaching people about this technology and actually implementing it and working with it. So
I want Olayinka to jump in just with on like the education of blockchain. She has an amazing initiative.
Yes, really excited about this question. So, Black Women Blockchain Council has partnered up with Consensus to create 500,000 Black women blockchain developer by the year 2030. And it's on a global initiative. And right now, we're taking people who are interested in that platform. It's going to be two track. It's going to be catered to the blockchain developer as well as business developer. Our intention is to make sure that we're covering both ends. In this space right now, there's a high demand for developers, but there's a small amount of people who could actually develop or the blockchain. And so we want to make sure that our community is involved, particularly the Black women, and that we're not left behind when it comes to creating solutions on this technology. So the business developer side is, whenever any business decides to work on a project, they all sit together at a table and try to come up with a concept and go through the business plan. And so what we want to do is make sure that we're having a seat at that table and we're helping them develop how this infrastructure will be planned out. And the good thing is they'll be able to tap into somebody from their cohort who actually can develop the blockchain developer and can develop the blockchain. And so that way, there's opportunities to create wealth because you can really write your own ticket when it comes to this space, especially when you're a developer because it's rare. And so we're very happy about that. We actually had 10 women start. They'll be starting tomorrow and really excited. They're going through their boot camp process with Consensus. It's a 6 weeks intensive boot camp. And Consensus is part of the Ethereum Foundation, and they're known worldwide. And the good thing about Consensus is that once they go through the process, they also have an opportunity to either work for Consensus, they get a certification, and that certification carries weight everywhere you go. So they have an opportunity to start creating wealth in about 6 months. Excited about that. And if anyone is interested, you can go to www.bwbc.io. You will see the press release and sign up sheet.
And Teri?
So I wanted to jump in when Lamar was talking about the hobby becoming a full-time thing because like literally that's what happened to me. Like I was trading stocks as a hobby in education and then it became my full-time thing. And then like it's come to the point now where I just made my first $1 million in a day trading last week. So like these things do build on themselves. Like you build wealth really fast or not fast. It's been 11 years I've been trading. So over time you get better and better, but they become something that's not just a hobby. And then even for my students, Olayinka, to your point, like now I've taught 7,000 people how to trade and they're now building wealth and making money too. So these hobbies become something where other people are able to then start building legacy for their families. So yeah, I love everything that everybody's saying. And if you want to know more about trade and travel, just go to tradeandtravel.com.
Well, thank you so much to my amazing panelists for joining us at the Root Institute. I know there was a lot of terminology, but like in the crypto space, we like to say, do your own research um, and really go down the rabbit hole because there's so much opportunity. There's so much information already out there. Start with reading the white papers. Start with tapping into resources from Teri and Olayinka and even Black Bitcoin Billionaires. So thank you again, and we'll see you in the metaverse.